How I build trust in sales that has allowed me to boost my business is very simple. There are two ways, and today I'll talk about them. Hi everyone, my name is Kian. I run a company focusing on corporate training, business consulting, and employee engagement. We have worked with more than 25 companies, more than 10 multinational companies, and more than 2,500 employees across 15 different countries, including Canada, Germany, Australia, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and so forth. And as we all know, trust happens to be very important in sales or any interactions for that matter, because if someone does not trust you, why would they want to work with you or talk to you for that matter? They don't even want to be close to you. Human beings are very good at recognizing uncooperative and non-trustworthy individuals, and we dislike them because they are people who are undesirable and people who may sabotage instead of help us. So I want to teach you today or share with you two ways that I've learned that has allowed me to build trust with my clients and prospects, and I feel will definitely help you as well. The model that I will use to share about trust is what we call the stereotype content model. The psychological model, and it also looks at how people form impressions and stereotypes of each other. The two components on a stereotype content model are warmth and competence. So let's start with the first one, which is warmth. So to build trust, you want to show yourself as someone who is warm. And the easiest way to be warm really is to be someone who is genuine. And like I mentioned, you better be genuine because people can recognize if you're not genuine. If not in the first meeting, then in the following meetings. And we want to know that business and interactions and relationships with others are a long game. You might be able to strike a deal and lie to someone and not be honest and genuine in one instance, but once they find out, things are not going to be good in the long term. So you want to make sure that as much as possible, you remain genuine. Second thing that you could do that's also super easy is to smile very often, because we like feeling positive, and positive emotions are contagious. So if you smile, people are going to feel that you're someone who's warm and welcoming, and people like that. Especially if you think about it, if you're working, whether in a B2B or a B2C context, the person that you're dealing with probably has a lot of troubles in your lives, unless you're incredibly lucky. I haven't met people like that. I'm not someone like that, certainly. We all have a lot of troubles in our work. So if you as a salesperson or a business owner or a potential business partner, or maybe even someone who is pitching for an investment, can appeal to their liking by being warm, then you're also able to build trust in the long term. They like you, and that often would be the first step of building trust. Other things you could do include something like buying a token of appreciation if you happen to be on vacation, for example. Hey, I was on vacation, I thought of you, I bought this bookmark for you. What you give does not have to be something super fancy or expensive. In fact, it definitely doesn't want to be. You don't want it to be super fancy or expensive, because if you're working with a company, then there may be anti-bribery, no gift policies, and so forth. So you want to just make sure that it's something that's just a gesture of genuineness, of appreciation, of friendliness, and so forth. Something small that makes people feel like, oh, this person remembers me. I am sufficiently important in this person's mind and heart such that they remember me when they're on holiday and on vacation. And human beings enjoy feeling a sense of importance. It's closely tied to social status, and human beings have a fundamental need for social status. Aside from gifts, you can also buy coffee. I always buy coffee for my prospects, but the thing about buying coffee is you don't want to be emotionally holding them hostage. You don't want to think, hey, I bought you this coffee, so you must move forward with me for this deal. In my mind, it's more of like presenting yourself as generous. If you're gonna strike a big deal, maybe not today, but in the future, what is the cost of coffee in the grand scheme of things? So you don't want to be a miser. You want to be someone who is generous. And by buying something like coffee every time you meet them, it induces liking. It also shows that you're someone who is of a high social status. Something like coffee is something that you're willing to give out for free. Really, I don't expect anything in return when I buy coffee for other people. And these small gestures are ways that you can build warmth, by being genuine, being smiling, buying souvenirs, small ones, buying coffee and so forth. And let me see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, one final thing that you could do to be warm and to present yourself as such is to show the prospects and the clients that you're willing to help them even when there is no immediate benefit for you. So what I mean by that is, let's say the prospect shares with you about their worries, and you realize that their worries do not correspond to the type of offering that you're providing. You can willingly share with them your experience, share with them other vendors that you know in the market or in another market that's good, or make referrals. So recommending them or people that you know to the people that you're dealing with. And you do not have to be eyeing for an immediate referral fee, commissions, and so forth. The idea is that you're someone who's generous in sharing. You are not afraid to help others even when there is no immediate benefit or reward for you. Again, when you do that, you present yourself as generous, productive, and genuine. So people like people who are generous, genuine, and productive. So why not cultivate a reputation like that? At the end of the day, our reputation is our most important asset, because although it may not guarantee short-term immediate reward, in the long term it will be good. And again, the world happens to be, or reality happens to be, an iterative process. You're not living today. So don't just think about your reward today. Think about your reputation in the very long term, across decades, for example. And that really is the first way that you can build trust. Presenting yourself as warm, being genuine, buying coffee, buying souvenirs, making referrals, even when there is no immediate benefit. And the second way that you could build trust is appealing to competence. So competence essentially is really how good you are at your thing. So the ways that you can build competence, one way, of course, is to share with your clients who you have worked with. If you have worked with their competitors, that often is a good sign for you, because they would then experience that feeling of scarcity, competition, or rather competitiveness in a healthy way in the context of business, and they're more likely to want to test you out as a vendor. You can also present yourself as a problem solver, and what I mean by that is that you want to be quick when replying to clients and addressing their queries. You want to make sure that whenever they have a quote-unquote problem, like a piece of paperwork they want to complete, a question that their stakeholder has, you address them super quickly. In fact, you can be proactive. And you can say, hey, I know that, for example, you're dealing with 3 other departments or more. Perhaps these stakeholders may have their individual questions. Do you want to let me know what these questions are so I can address them for you right now, so that after this meeting, it'll be easier for you to then communicate with them? Now, when you do that, then they feel like, wow, whenever I meet this person seems to take off a lot of burden from my plate. And people love working with problem solvers because we're sufficiently busy. We have our own work to do. If you're dealing in a B2B context, the person you're dealing with probably has a million other tasks and meeting 10 other vendors aside from yourself. So if you present yourself as a problem solver, you're someone who's competent, people are then more likely to trust you and your offering. The final thing that you can do to build competence is to pay attention to how you look. Pay attention to grooming. Make sure that you're clean. Make sure that your hygiene is on point. Make sure that your posture is straight, that your chest is puffed up, your shoulders are back. You present yourself behaviorally as someone who is confident and therefore competent as well. So physical attractiveness happens to be very important. People like working with others who are physically attractive. I believe there are also studies that shows that sometimes, in some cases, physical attractiveness predicts interview success, or I believe positive impressions much more effectively compared to something like IQ, which is supposedly more effective. So that shows how emotional human beings are. We make impressions and we make decisions based on our impressions, even though they may not be super educated or informed. But knowing that, you want to make sure that we use these emotional mechanisms, these evolutionary mechanisms, to our benefit instead of against ourselves. And these are the 2 ways that I build trust: by having warmth, that is being genuine, being helpful even though there is no immediate benefit, making sure that you think of the client and you make them know that you think of them by buying them coffee, small souvenirs, so warmth. Being competent, making sure that you're a problem solver, addressing their queries, making sure that all paperwork is done, making sure that there is no backlog or unnecessary trouble that may be delaying the process of delivery or hindering the quality of the delivery. Making sure that you present yourself behaviorally as someone who's hygienic, who's physically attractive, and presenting your experience, showing them and demonstrating your excellence, showing them the clientele that you have, and so forth. And that's competence. So warmth and competence are things or are factors you want to keep in mind as far as impression formation and also as far as building trust is concerned in running a business, doing sales, interacting with stakeholders, and so forth. I hope you have learned something new. If you have, please like the video, leave a comment to share your thoughts and ideas. I would respond to them definitely. And subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I will see you. Thank you very much for your attention.